Today we are at the LSU Rural Life Museum in Baton Rouge. I'm one of hundreds of people that have driven by this hundreds of times and always thought, well, I need to stop there and take a look at it. Well, today I'm doing it. And I can tell you, based on early impressions, it's pretty amazing. I could easily spend a couple hours just inside the enclosed museum. But I'm going to do a walk around. It's nice and cool today. They give you a nice little handy map. It's about $10 to get in and visit it. What a great place to start the tour. We're going to start at the cemetery, and the reason we're starting the cemetery is I've spent 20 minutes wandering around with this really good map they give you, and I'll be damned if I can figure out how it works in here. I am absolutely completely lost as to where I'm at in it. I did find the cemetery, so I'm giving up on the nice map that they made, very detailed. Unfortunately, it's impossible to follow it, so I'm just going to wander around and photograph things that look interesting. If you recall, in the Vermilion episode, we visited the cemetery there next to the church. It was a lot smaller than this one. Now, I should say that this is set up to recreate a plantation village, a complete village, self-sufficient, and everything it takes to run a plantation is supposed to be here. So we'll just randomly walk around and look. I believe this is around the 1850s or so. I'll have to check on that. Well, this church is from 1870. I don't know how many of these windows are original, but the structure is. Arch doors. The village here contains a number of different architectural styles. This one is called a shotgun house, and it looks exactly like the name would imply. It's long and narrow. You come in, it has one big room that serves as, I guess, the living room or main room, followed by a bedroom at the very back, and I guess kitchen. Well, maybe it's a kitchen back. They don't let you go all the way back. And I'm guessing these covered things are wells, but I don't know. I've yet to find one that has a sign. Everybody's house has one, so I'm guessing it's wells. But anyway, they have a variety of houses from different time periods. I just wish they had a map that was functional. This one, an Acadian house. Take a look at it. Well, it's hard to believe an Acadian house would have been set up like this, but I suppose it's possible. And I'm not going over there. Okay, on the Acadian house, this is the kitchen. It was attached to the back. You couldn't see it just looking through. But again, this would have been very common because kitchens had a tendency to catch fire. So you want to limit the damage to your home by having it close, yet not real close. And then the family barn that went with it. And I don't know if this is an oven. Almost looks like that's what it was. for baking. I'm not certain. There's no sign on it, but that's for sure is what it looks like. It looks like an oven. This is an example of a grist mill. Now, I've seen lots of grist mills attached to flowing water, particularly in Missouri. There's quite a few of them that have survived and you can tour. But this is the first one I've ever seen that is not attached and powered by water. I guess you can't go up inside it. I'm guessing it was either hand powered or maybe they had some pulley system. I don't know. But that's what this is, a grist mill. This is a former slave cabin. I've never actually seen one of those, so let's take a look at it. You notice it's made of brick, which means they made their own bricks right on site on the plantation. You did have a bed and a little table, a fireplace, pretty roomy. I think today they call these studio apartments. Curtains probably did nothing to help keep bugs out, but it was at least dry over your head. This is another plantation single slave house. I don't know if by single they mean one person lived there or not, as opposed to this one over here. I'm going to just go ahead and guess is a double. The inside of this first one is almost identical to the brick-faced one we saw. Both of these were from former plantations and are dated roughly around pre-Civil War, 1840. Okay, in this one you can see that it's not nearly as nice, and in the case of here it's set up for a child and 3 people that slept on the floor, and it was a small table, a couple chairs, and a fireplace. Reminds me of a motel I stayed at once out west. And this would have been a duplex. You got a double mattress over there, 3 singles over here, and a fireplace. About the only thing you can say. It's like sleeping out in a shed. It's better than being in the rain. Let's see what this is here. This is the overseer's house. Whoop. Here. Circa 1835. Not being an expert on slavery, I would say the overseer was probably the person in charge of supervising the slaves on their work jobs. So you got a little bigger place, a little nicer. Well, not a little bit nicer, a lot nicer, a lot bigger. Actually has a living room, a little sofa, and I'm not sure what's back there. Kitchen. And I'm guessing that's the foundry back there. I didn't do that last little one. This building originally was a schoolhouse, but when it was moved here to the Rural Life Museum, they repurposed it into a typical plantation kitchen. I don't know if this was the kitchen used to feed the slaves or the entire plantation or just the owner. But you can see it's set up to do some serious cooking. And I just have a gut feel that the foldable ladder was not part of 1860s slave life. Right here we have a chicken coop. I imagine up off the ground to keep vermin out of it. A smokehouse, and then a larger smokehouse with actually a smoke pit in it. So it was undoubtedly, it was smoked in this larger building and then moved over here to cure in this one. Well, let's go see what else we can find. Oh, I didn't show you. A little garden. They would have grown all the food that they needed themselves, and this would have been tended by the slaves. This is a pigeon coop. Apparently pigeons were a major source of meat for plantations, and they were actively raised, and they would build these shelters for them so they could come in at night and have a safe place and do whatever pigeons do and be safe. And this is the commissary, where slaves could buy. It's at the company store. Probably this was something that came post-Civil War, when a lot of the slaves became sharecroppers and tenant farmers, and they were paid for their crops. However, the commissary just had a tendency to eat up all of their profits, so kept them in perpetual debt. So freedom came at a price. Yeah, they were free to leave. They just couldn't get any money to go anywhere because the system was rigged against them. And what good is a town if it doesn't have a post office? This one's from the late 1800s. From 1898 to 1915. This has to be one of the strangest things I've ever run across in my travels. This is a Fisk mummy coffin. It was first patented in 1848 by inventor Almond Fisk. It was made of cast iron and designed to be airtight, and had a viewing window over the face. That way, if relatives were delayed in making it to the funeral, or if the body had to be moved, they would still be able to see the face of their dearly departed. Unfortunately, people found these just a little too creepy, even for Victorian times. Okay, we're going to take a quick little tour of the gift shop, which I've already been through it once and picked up something I'm going to buy. All the things here are, for the most part, made by local artisans. I'd say the Rural Life Museum is definitely worth a stop. It's very well done. You might make a point of wearing some mud-resistant shoes, because unlike the other two places that we visited, this one is on unpaved gravel walkways, and at certain points you do have to walk through the grass. So if you have shoes that get wet easily, you might want to leave them in the car. Plan on spending at least 2 hours going through it. I didn't actually have enough time to go through the large indoor displays that they have. I have to make it to a wedding rehearsal this afternoon, and if I'm 1 minute late, I am dead. So this is it, LSU Rural Life Museum in Baton Rouge. Pretty easy to find, and definitely a nice place to visit.